So it's finally arrived, Sonic Prime, the official Sonic Netflix show that we've been waiting for months for. I mean, hey, now that it's finally out and I got to watch all 8 episodes, I actually had a pretty good time with it. If you're a Sonic fan, I definitely think it's worth your time. So I'm gonna start with the premise. If anybody's confused as to what universe this is taking place in, I have no idea at this point. I think they're trying to unify the lore within the games a little bit. In this particular series, it could kind of fit in anywhere in the Sonic lore at this point, but these characters have different characterization to them this time around, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Just as a heads up, I'm not going to be doing any spoilers in this particular review. I definitely think it's worth checking out if you're a Sonic fan. If you're watching this video, definitely go give it some of your time. So the whole premise is that Eggman goes after another mystical gem. This time it is the Paradox Prism. I don't know where this thing came from, but it exists. And within the scrap, Sonic destroys this whole thing, causing all the universes to join this shatter-verse. So he destroys their initial universe, I guess, which is why it's called Sonic Prime, because he destroys the Prime universe. And he ends up traveling from universe to universe, helping variations of his friends in different difficulties as he goes from dimension to dimension. And it's kind of set up similar to how Kingdom Hearts has the Disney worlds, like he's just traveling from different dimensions, helping out the people there, and then coming back to like this main hub world that he ends up with when he first moves from his universe to the next. And I will say that the animation is quite fluid. I was actually kind of surprised at the outcome of this animation. I was expecting, you know, similar CGI to Sonic Boom, for instance, and that show is kind of hilarious at the end of the day. I enjoy Sonic Boom for what it is, but this version of Sonic brings a lot of energy and fluidity to the animation. It's very stretchy and you feel the power and speed within the combat and moves. And some of these action scenes, they're very much like set pieces and they're choreographed in a way where it communicates the energy of the scene properly. So if you're looking for a more high energy, action-based Sonic animation, this is the one for you. And even compared to like Sonic X, for instance, I think the animation kind of fell flat on its ass when it came to combat and fights within that, even though the story was pretty decent. This is a completely original story and it has action scenes that kind of blew me away at times, which reminds me a lot of how the Sonic games look, actually. A lot of the set pieces look like they're straight out of one of the games. So I thought that was the fascinating part about it. And of course, the characters are extremely expressive. Their faces show different types of emotion very clearly. And I'm glad that they brought that type of style to the characters because it fits for them. And I think we've been begging for that within the games. I mean, not me personally, but I think that a lot of people have critiqued Sonic for not being expressive as he could be. For example, like he was in Sonic Unleashed or in Wreck-It Ralph, for instance, and things like that. So this definitely brings that to the table and you'll be seeing a lot more expressive characters within the confines of the show. So for the 8 episodes that I watched, some of it drags on a little bit. Some dimensions are more interesting than others. And I'm not gonna spoil which, but I do think that less time could be spent in different dimensions that they came up with. And I know a lot of people were speculating that we would get like different dimensions from the past, like Archie Sonic and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic and Saddam Sonic and things like that. But I hate to break it to you, they didn't go down that route.
No way! I can't believe this!
But they have 21 episodes in the pipeline. We only got 8 for right now. So maybe in future seasons, we'll see them explore that. But the way that things are set up, I don't think that's gonna happen. You know, fingers crossed for some type of cameo for some additional Sonic. But I think that kind of defeats the purpose of the whole plot so far. Now, if anybody was concerned about the voice actors for Sonic Prime, they've completely changed them versus the ones in the games. But you can tell these voice actors are trying to emulate the style and cadence of the characters from the games, and they do a pretty good job at that. I honestly have no complaints with the voice actors we were given. Shout out to the voice actor for Knuckles, by the way. I'm not sure if it's one voice actor or several. His range changes by crazy amounts.
I'm Knuckles, the guardian of this island. Consider this your first and final warning.
Don't you worry. The fire isn't to cook you. It's to welcome you.
Shout out to Adam Narado, who is the voice actor for Knuckles. If that's him in every dimension within this show, that's some incredible range, bro. And of course, the voice actor for Sonic and Sonic Prime is Devin Mack. When he revealed himself as the voice actor, I did an initial video for it a few months back. And I think it's in good hands with Devin because he's kind of emulating Roger Craig Smith a little bit. Not the Frontiers version, but the Roger Craig Smith versions before that. And he does bring a lot of personality and energy to the character. I have no complaints. I do have a little bit of a critique with Sonic's characterization, but overall, Devin Mack does bring a good performance and I have no complaints there. He seems like a pretty cool guy And, you know, shout out to him for putting on such a good performance in this case. Now, I did notice that some of the plot lines are trying to bring Sonic back to basics a little bit. There's a lot of like environmentalism, like kind of brought into this as a common theme throughout, and I'm not going to spoil how. And it kind of brings that energy back from the classics where Sonic's stopping this mad scientist from making the environment this huge mechanical wasteland, you know what I mean? So there's some of those aspects that are still here, which it's pretty cool. It's a breath of fresh air to see them kind of bring that theming back. So overall, Sonic has a pretty fun plot, great animation, great voice acting, and that kind of comes together to bring a pretty decent weekend binge, in my opinion. It won't take you long to get through this. There are 8 episodes and they're about 25 minutes each. The first episode I think is like 45 or so, but it's a great intro into these characters. There's not a lot of diversity with the characters that they involved in this one. So you're gonna have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Rouge, which gets a lot of the spotlight from time to time. And I think we've been missing that from the games for a while. So it's good to have her involved. Shadow has a certain cameo in there as well. And of course, a variation of Eggman and a bunch of new characters that may interest you. I'm interested to see where they take these characters, especially the villain side of things. I think that it's gonna build into other character arcs as well. Some of these characters and variations of the main cast have different personalities that come into the mix to make this pretty interesting and give each dimension this fresh look at some of these characters. There's a lot of potential here, and this is gonna be ongoing within Netflix. They do have 21 episodes, so I think they're gonna be releasing them in batches. But based on what we have right now, it looks pretty promising, and I hope that the rest of the episodes deliver and sticks the landing. I just have to talk about Sonic's characterization this time around, though. He's portrayed a little bit dumber than his normal self. Normally, Sonic's very cunning and smart and intelligent and can read situations very quickly. They kind of slowed him down quite a bit. And it's a little bit of a whiplash coming from Frontiers and then seeing this version of Sonic who is kind of gullible at times and causes things out of like his selfishness. I'm not saying that we haven't dealt with those types of character traits with him before, but he's a little bit more childish this time around, but has a lot more energy than we saw in Frontiers and the IDW comics at this point, and definitely Sonic Boom. So this is kind of going to be an interesting characterization. I want to see more. I haven't totally gotten used to it yet, but it didn't overstay its welcome. But this is by far the weakest version of Sonic I've ever seen. I mean, he gets folded in every single episode, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to be this running gag, but he gets thrown around constantly. I think if this was a video game, he would have lost all his lives by now. He would have gone through like 3 game overs at this point because he gets tossed. I'm not even joking. So next time you watch, or if you decide to watch this, definitely keep track of that. Leave a comment below if you agree with me. I think that he needs a little bit of a boost in intellect and power, but that's just my opinion. You know, I'm sure it's gonna lead to more things in future seasons, but it is an ongoing story. I hope it doesn't become a slice of life type of thing and they do wrap this up after a certain amount of episodes, but we will see. And that is my thoughts for right now. Leave a comment below. What did you think? Did you watch Sonic Prime already? Are you enjoying it, or do you not plan on watching it? Either way, let me know in the comments below. This has been The Prophet, TheMentok YouTube savior. As always, be safe. The Prophet has spoken.